35 down the sidelines to the 40, makes a move to the 45, the 50, he's to the 40, he could go, he's at the 25, the 20, they dive at him, they miss him, he's in the end zone, touchdown!
Throws off his back foot, wide open man in the end zone, leaping grab, touchdown!
Launches the throw down toward the goal line, going up, ball tipped in the air, caught, touchdown!
Reverses his field, got a block from Pittman, going deep, got a man in the end zone, touchdown!
It's a man's game tonight now, you know that. Everybody watching tonight.
And now it's the Undefined Blitz with Chad and JC.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome once again to the Undefined Blitz right here on undefinеdradio.com. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in to yet what we hope is another great show on the Undefined Blitz, talking all the foosball, all the stuff that happened this weekend. It wasn't a fun weekend. If you're a fan of the teams we're a fan of, it was not a fun week except for one of them.
And even that wasn't fun. That was way more stressful than it should have been.
It was a lot of stress. And we're about to talk about it. So we're going to dive into college football first. We'll talk about what happened in college football, the upsets, the heartbreaks, all the things that went into it this weekend in college football. We're going to talk about because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of shakeups going on in college football this weekend. The new top 10 came out and looks far different than how it started last week or how last week ended. How about that? Maybe that's a better way to put it.
So we should just start
we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, last week's recap and then get into that top 10 or top 25, rather.
Let's start with the early game of the day. Red River Shootout, number 12, Oklahoma, number 3, Texas. At least that's how it was that day. That has changed as Oklahoma squeaks out a win at the end of this game, 34-30 over the Longhorns.
And there's plenty of what ifs in this game, right? So
Yes.
there's what if Quinn Ewers doesn't throw 2 interceptions, in the first 2-3 drives for Texas there.
First 2 drives, I think it was.
So what if that doesn't happen? Then you turn around. Oh, if you're a Texas fan, well, what if Texas found a way to shut down Farouk, the wide receiver from Oklahoma?
Yeah, which they could not do.
What if the blocked punt doesn't even happen for
Yep.
Texas? There's a lot of what ifs that don't matter because they didn't.
No.
It didn't go the other way.
That's right.
It played out the way it played out. But despite Texas shooting themselves in the foot throughout this game, they were still in a position to win it.
Yep.
And
they were.
And they let
Could not get the stop they needed.
Yeah, they let Oklahoma go down the field in exactly 60 seconds.
Yep.
to get the win. In the biggest moments, they faltered.
They did
throughout this game. Despite I still believe they have the better talent.
Oh, I think they do too.
And it's not even saying that Oklahoma's bad talent.
No,
I just think
Oklahoma's not bad.
I just think Texas is at this point just a little more talented of a roster.
Yep.
However,
Oklahoma played clutch when they needed to play clutch, and 100%. They pulled it out.
Dylan Gabriel was on point. He was using his legs as well as his arm to beat the Longhorns. I think these two are destined to play each other again in that Big 12 title game.
It's coming.
And how poetic would it be for the last time that Texas and Oklahoma are in the Big 12, they play each other for that conference title?
I think they should. And I think that's how it would have played out of the way.
But that is – because I don't think Oklahoma has anybody left on their schedule that's going to
challenge them.
Going to challenge them, or at least not in any meaningful way. Let me double check and verify. So they got UCF, which they should win. They've got Kansas, or they got a bye week this week. Then UCF, then Kansas, then Oklahoma State, then West Virginia, then BYU, then TCU. Yeah, they have they should finish the regular season undefeated.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's right.
The Longhorns have a bye week this week. Then they have Houston, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Also should finish the regular season undefeated. The only thing currently standing in the Texas Longhorns' way of playing Oklahoma for the Big 12 title is West Virginia.
Yeah.
Because West Virginia, even though they're 4-1, they are undefeated in conference play.
That's right. Which is what counts.
The problem is, this really would throw a monkey wrench into this thing. Let's say West Virginia wins all of their games going into November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
November 11th, they square off with Oklahoma.
Oh, there you go. Ooh, and what if they beat Oklahoma?
If they pull the upset on Oklahoma, and we find ourselves in this crazy situation where Oklahoma has 1 loss in conference play, West Virginia has no losses in conference play, and Texas has 1 loss in conference play. I think
Texas on the outside.
Texas would be on the outside by virtue of the loss to Oklahoma.
That's right, which is a big deal.
Really, Texas
can
needs
lose out 2 ways.
Texas needs Oklahoma to beat West Virginia.
Yes.
Unless West Virginia ends up ultimately dropping one of these games. Now, West Virginia does have a loss. They lost to Penn State week 1 and weren't really competitive. They've played some not great teams since then.
The schedule gets a little bit more competitive for them.
Yeah, it's all conference play from here on out. It's Oklahoma State, UCF, BYU, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, Baylor.
That's right.
Now, I think West Virginia is going to West Virginia, and they're going to lose one of these games that they shouldn't.
Sure.
Either before or after Oklahoma.
That's right.
I think Oklahoma, Texas is the Big 12 title game. However, there's a very real possibility that it could be West Virginia.
Exactly. We have Arkansas taking on Ole Miss, going to the vault, and Ole Miss pulls this win out 27-20. What we described earlier is very stressful.
Yeah,
this game
way more stressful than it should have been. KJ Jefferson had 2 interceptions in this game, which kind of overshadowed otherwise what was a pretty solid outing by him. But the 2 interceptions that he threw, he just threw them at the worst times, both of them.
That was really it.
And of course, one of those interceptions being the one that sealed the game for Ole Miss. As Ole Miss got that victory 27-20 in Vaught Hemingway Stadium. So now I can go to my boss's boss and laugh in her face about Ole Miss beating Arkansas.
That's right.
I'll take that.
There is a bright, shiny little cloud at the end of this miserable weekend.
Yeah, silver lining there.
Yeah. Number 20, Kentucky falls to Georgia 51-13. Now, that's how a number 1 team should beat a team that's not even close in there.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's good.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they would lose that badly to Georgia.
And Georgia put it on them, man. Number 2, Michigan wipes the floor with Minnesota 52-10. Ohio State beats Maryland 37-17.
But
in a close game going into the fourth quarter.
But Maryland had the momentum through halftime. Going into the third, like they were kind of in control of this game. Especially early in the third, they went up 17-10, and then after that, it was just 27 unanswered points by Ohio State.
Florida State beats Virginia Tech 39-17.
No surprise there. Big game for Benson. 11 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns.
USC survives unranked Arizona in overtime, 43-41. It was triple overtime.
USC, Caleb Williams, they get that 2-point conversion that Caleb Williams scrambled for, which put the nail in the coffin of that game. But, man, Arizona, I think, started out, I want to say they were up 17-0 early in that game.
It is not good times at Notre Dame right now. They fall to Louisville 33-20.
Well, Sam Hartman threw 3 interceptions in this game. So here's a weird, just an odd anomaly type thing, but Sam Hartman in particular, the last 2 seasons as a 10 seed or the 10th overall team in the country has lost to Louisville.
That's weird.
While playing as the number 10 team in
the country. Isn't that crazy?
So last year he was with Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And they lose to number 10 Wake Forest loses to Louisville. This year he's with Notre Dame. Number 10 Notre Dame loses to Louisville. Jack Harlow was at that game. He stormed the field with the Louisville fans after they upset Notre Dame. And didn't just upset them. I mean, they in that second half, they just beat the brakes off Notre Dame.
Yeah. Number 11, Alabama beats Texas A&M 26-20 in a game that was very, very tight going into halftime. And Alabama just controlled after that defensively.
And that's how Alabama does.
Washington State beats UCLA. No, I'm sorry.
Lost.
UCLA beat Washington State because UCLA was unranked.
Correct.
They beat number, what was Washington State? 13? 25-17 with a great fourth quarter.
Yeah, UCLA got the huge 4th down stop to seal that game away. Massive upset, kind of win the Bruins need, especially if they're going to try to compete with USC and Oregon and Utah and all those teams. So great win for the Bruins.
Number 14, North Carolina beats Syracuse 40-10. 23-7.
Remember how just a couple weeks ago Syracuse was 4-0?
Yep.
And then the last 2 weeks they've just gotten slapped around.
They have been. Number 15, Oregon State beats Cal 52-40.
Didn't think that game would be that competitive, but Cal tried. They just didn't have enough. DJ Uiagalelei, 5 touchdowns in that game.
Number 17, Miami. Balls to Georgia Tech. Unranked Georgia Tech.
Oh, so everybody
23-20.
Yeah, everybody has to have seen this by now. Van Dyke, the quarterback in Miami, had a bad game. Like, he had 288 yards, but he had a touchdown and 3 interceptions. Miami's got the ball late in the game. Literally, all they have to do is take a couple knees. That's it. Miami wins. They improved to 5-0 at that point. Well, for whatever reason, Mario Cristobal and company decide to hand the ball off. Just a little running play up the gut.
Knowing the other team is punching at the ball like crazy.
And of course, Georgia Tech rips the ball out. They recover it. And I think there's about a minute left in the game. Georgia Tech goes right down the field, throws a moon ball to the end zone. They get the touchdown to go up 23-20. That's where the final score ended. Georgia Tech goes into Miami, pulls a massive upset of the Hurricanes. And it's 100%. Like, yes, the running back shouldn't have fumbled.
All right.
I get that to you.
But they should never.
However, the running back should have never been in that situation.
No, this should have been easily kneel down.
That's it.
Let's get rid of the time. And
Georgia Tech didn't have the timeouts.
They didn't.
Just take the knees.
Run it out.
And be done with it.
It's when we get to our Drizzler Awards at the end, I've got 2 in mind, and they're running neck and neck. This is the first one.
Me too.
That's running neck and neck with the one we'll talk about here in a little bit. So keep that in mind because this is horrible. Talking about bad beats, like we talk about in poker, right? You get a bad, but this is a self-inflicted bad beat. This is not one that's, the cards just fell like that.
Right.
This is self-inflicted all the way, and it couldn't be funnier. It just couldn't be.
Yeah, it's hysterical.
It is hilarious that this happened. Number 23 LSU beat number 21 Missouri 49-39 with a huge fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Missouri was at one point comfortably in control of this game. Not maybe comfortably, but they were handling LSU.
Yes, they were.
Like, they weren't blowing them out, but they were getting stops. They were they were shutting down LSU's offense, and they were moving the ball against LSU's defense. But then, that fourth quarter came around, and Jaden Daniels and company just woke all the way up.
Oh, they did. And, man, they just torched them. Wyoming 24, number 24, Fresno State 19.
I did. I got a lot of my picks wrong this week. I did not get that one wrong.
It's not good.
I did not get that Wyoming-Fresno State game wrong, though.
No, you picked this, actually.
I call for the Cowboys in Laramie to hold or to defend their home turf. Although, and honestly, I mean, Wyoming was up 24-7 at half. They really kind of let Fresno State back into that game. But outside of that, they did pretty well.
So before we talk about this week's matchups, let's talk about the new top 25. Because, son, it hasn't changed. We've got number 1, Georgia, still where they need to be at, thanks in large part to Texas's loss. Michigan's at number 2. Still,
I think it's also in large part to them just dominating a ranked Kentucky team.
I think that helped too. But I mean, if Texas beats Oklahoma, they get a few more first place votes. We saw the votes changing last week a little bit, but this right here, I think that was Ohio State moves into number 3. Florida State moves into the 4 spot. Oklahoma jumped up 7 spots to number 5. Penn State stays at number 6. Washington stays at number 7. Oregon stays at
Washington's at number 7.
Yeah, Washington is number 7. Texas drops to number 9. USC drops to number 10. Alabama stays at number 11. North Carolina bumps up to number 12. Ole Miss goes up 3 spots to number 13. Louisville jumps up 11 spots to number 14. The biggest mover, the biggest upwards mover.
Yeah, biggest upwards movement.
Because Notre Dame gets the biggest downwards mover, and they drop 11. We'll get to them in a minute.
Which I like that because Louisville beat Notre Dame. They went up 11 spots. Notre Dame dropped 11 spots.
Yep.
That seems fair.
It really does, and especially because of the disparity in how they were ranked.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was
It's also the disparity in talent.
It is. It really
You
is. We have Oregon State ranks at number 15. Utah's at 16. Duke at number 17. We've got UCLA at 18. Washington State at 19. Tied with Tennessee, really, got the same amount of votes. Tennessee had moved, when Washington State moved down 6 spots, Tennessee had moved up 3 spots to where they're tied right now at number 19. Number 21, as the aforementioned Notre Dame. 22, LSU moved up 8 spots. 23, is Campus. They were unranked the week before. They're ranked now. Kentucky moved down 4 spots, number 24. And Miami rounds out the top 25, moving down 8 spots. How's this looking to you?
Honestly, I think Miami could have dropped out and Missouri hung in there at 25, just because LSU is not a bad team and Miami beat themselves. So the fact that Miami's still hanging in that top 25, kind of irritating to me. Although if you want to make this if you want to make the assessment that Miami had the game won, it's not like they lost.
That's right.
Well, they did lose, but they didn't.
But they weren't beaten.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was again self-inflicted.
But
this is all on Miami.
I still think Miami should have dropped out. Missouri should have hung on there. But other than that, I really don't have an argument against this top 25 rankings. I like that Texas is still in the top 10, despite the loss to Oklahoma, because Oklahoma is now 5. They were at 12 last week. If Texas were named Alabama, they wouldn't have fallen maybe even that far.
No.
But
they dropped 3 spots, maybe.
But we'll roll with it there. Interesting, though, now that we're at basically the halfway point in the season, interesting to see how these games are about to play out between Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State as we head down that final stretch.
Well, this coming up week is soft week. There's not a lot of big challenges out there. We're going to run through these games real quick. Only a couple of big matchups, or what you might consider big matchups. We'll get to those. We'll start out with number 1 Georgia taking on Vandy. Lines Georgia by 31.5.
Okay.
Number 2 Michigan takes on Indiana. Lines Michigan by 34.
I forgot that Shane McMahon's son plays running back at Indiana.
I did not know that, actually.
Old Declan McMahon. It's not going to help him, though. Michigan's going to win.
Number 3, Ohio State takes on Purdue. The line's OSU by 19.5, and I don't even know how you get that number. But okay. I think it's going to be way more than that.
Yeah.
Number 4, Florida State takes on Syracuse. The line's Florida State by 17.5 at home.
Florida State wins by more. They're a better team right now than North Carolina, and North Carolina just whacked Syracuse.
Oh, yeah. Number 11, Alabama takes on Arkansas. Lines Alabama by 19.5 at home.
Alabama wins, but they win by less than 19.5.
Okay. Number 16, Utah takes on Cal. Lines Utah by 13.5 at home.
Utah should win that game, but Cal just showed how kind of scrappy they are last week, so we'll see how that plays out.
Number 6, Penn State takes on Massachusetts. The line's Penn State by 43.
That's fair.
You got, finally, a matchup of top 10s. You've got number 8, Oregon.
Ooh, boy.
Number 7, Washington.
Oh, boy.
The line is Washington by 3 at home. This could be a fun game.
When the score is by 3, especially in college football, that's a pick 'em.
It really is.
I'm going to take the Ducks on the road.
Because we went through a lot of squash games here, but this one right here ought to be really, really fun.
Absolutely. Well, we're about to get into 2 or 3 games here that are kind of a pick 'em, however you want to look at it.
Well, and that's really true. Texas A&M is unranked right now, 4-2. They had Alabama on the ropes. Alabama finds a way to win this football game. Texas A&M couldn't do anything really in the second half. Tennessee is set there at 4-1, ranked number 19. The line's Tennessee only by 3.5 again at home.
Yeah, I think Tennessee gets the win, but it's going to be about that close. 3 or 4 points.
23, Kansas takes on Oklahoma State. The line's Kansas by 3.5 on the road.
I think Kansas gets the win and wins by at least a touchdown.
All right, number 14, Louisville. Coming off that huge victory, takes on Pittsburgh. Line is Louisville by 8 on the road.
I would say watch for the letdown game, but man, Pittsburgh's just bad.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Arizona takes on number 19 Washington State. The line is Washington State by 8 at home.
Well, Washington State's good and pissed off about losing last week. Arizona is probably feeling themselves a little more than they should after almost beating USC. I look for Washington State to win this game by 20.
We got Auburn taking on number 22 LSU. The line is LSU by 11 at home.
LSU drawing all these Tiger games.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they played
Lots
the
of
Missouri
them.
Tigers last week. They get the Auburn Tigers this week. But I'm going to say, the LSU Tigers walk out of Baton Rouge with the win.
Number 10 USC takes on number 21 Notre Dame. The line is Notre Dame by 2.5.
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Could you imagine how insane it would be if Notre Dame pulled that off?
I swear.
Like they're at home, man. And USC is one of their hated rivals. Everyone would lose their minds, and I'm here for the chaos. So give me Notre Dame.
There you go. Number 25 Miami takes on number 12 North Carolina. The line is UNC by 3.5 at home.
Yeah, I'm taking Tar Heels all the way.
Missouri takes on number 24 Kentucky. The line is Kentucky by 2.5 at home.
Give me Missouri on the road in Lexington.
I gotta go with that. I didn't think I'd say that at the beginning of the season. Number 18 UCLA. Number 15 Oregon State. The line is Oregon State by 4 at home.
Look, I'm gonna go with the known commodity here. I'm going DJU and Oregon State get the win.
And we've got NC State, who is 4-2, takes on number 17 Duke, who is 4-1.
Yeah,
Duke by 3.5 at home.
NC State, pretty decent team. The problem is their quarterback has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns this year. And Duke's a good team too. So if you're going to keep that up against Duke, you're going to make it a walk in the park as the Duke Blue Devils get the win at home in Durham.
That's right. All right, now we're going to switch over to the end of the FL and talk about some of this stuff that happened this weekend over there. I think I'm ready to retire from football for the season. Almost, it seems like.
You sound like Seth Rollins.
They don't tell you. It was rough. It was rough. My fantasy team took a beating again. I was getting ready just to roll and go off.
I had DJ Moore on the bench this week, so.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think, no.
Tell me about those bad beats.
I'm about to tell you about one. All right. Packers Raiders tonight, by the way. The Lions Las Vegas by 2 tonight.
I'm taking Packers on the road all day.
We've got Thursday night football last week. The Bears beat the Washington Commanders 40-20.
I mean, DJ Moore with 8 catches, 230 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields now has back-to-back games throwing 4 touchdown passes.
Yep.
Something he's never done in his career. I don't think he had even done it once until the week before. And now he's done it in back-to-back weeks. Maybe this is a sign of things to come for the Bears. Granted, they won't be playing the Commanders this week.
No.
But you got to be – I don't want to say optimistic at this point, but maybe it's just that little thing that you're like, all right, they're turning the corner at least.
Well, we'll find out. But, wow, what an impressive victory from the Bears. We had last night's game, because it's right here on my list, of course, so we're just going to go straight down it. Cowboys got dog walked, and it wasn't even that pretty.
No, they got absolutely blasted in all 3 phases of the game.
2-10 in the most lackluster Dallas Cowboy display of football I think I've seen in quite some time. And I say that because every phase of this game sucked.
Was bad. Yeah.
Playing, coaching, breathing,
play
all
calling.
of it was awful.
Quarterback play was bad. Running back play was non-existent. Offensive line play was bad. Yeah. I don't put anything on the wide receivers because they couldn't do anything because they couldn't
get the ball. They had no time to get open.
I mean, defense, after the 49ers went up 14-0, there was no pass rush for the rest of the game.
None.
Safety play was terrible.
Yep.
Of course, special teams didn't get any better there.
No.
This was a 100% all around three-phase ass whooping by the 49ers onto those Dallas Cowboys.
So my tag partner, Brody, he's a big 49ers fan. Of course, grew up that way. So he told me Saturday when I said, well, I guess we're going to be enemies tomorrow. I said, buddy, we're not going to be enemies. Y'all going to kick our ass. He started laughing. He said, what? I said, dude, trust me. It's coming. I've watched these first few football games. They can't score in the red zone. That's not going to change against your team.
Yeah, the only three teams that the Cowboys have beat this year are bad.
Yeah. I said, bad. So I pay attention to my football team.
And the Patriots are historically awful.
Yes, they are. I said, so it's going to be ugly. I didn't even watch the game. I went and watched the highlights later just for this show.
What, the highlight, the one Kavonte Turpin touchdown?
Watch. Look, here's the thing. This is why I've got Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy football team. I've got Debo on my fantasy football team. And I'm like, I'm about to go off. If nothing else, at least I'm going to get a lot of points. Christian McCaffrey scored once and he had a fumble. Debo didn't get a touchdown. I'm like, what?
George Kittle had his first 3-touchdown game of his career.
Exactly. I'm like, really? Really? Even that pissed me off. I'm like, come on. Because I just knew because my phone was lighting up. Notification. I was like, and no touchdown notifications every time they were in the red zone.
I put my phone on silent.
I was like, this is stupid. So if you want to know where my other drizzler comes from, it's from this one. So those are my two I'm working on. I'll have that solidified by the end of the day, by the end of this show.
Well, you take one and I'll take the other because honestly, we're on the same wavelength today.
I figured we might be. It's horrible, folks. It was so horrible. It was so. Usually when the Cowboys lose, they lose something where it was, or they just you feel like I get mad. I'd be like, well, that's stupid. And I'll think about it. It was just laughable to me last night. I mean, it was just laughable. There's no other way to look at it. Like, huh? Yep. Saw this coming a mile away. Here we go.
So look at the 49ers, though, and what they've done since Kyle Shanahan's become the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
They made the trade for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
They get to a Super Bowl with Garoppolo. They get to another NFC title game with him.
Yeah.
A guy who's largely just serviceable as a quarterback. Then, after Garoppolo, or I guess while Garoppolo's still technically there, they spend all these 437 draft picks to draft Trey Lance. It doesn't work out. They've already shipped him off to Dallas. But they spend their last pick in a draft just throwing a dart at the board. They grab Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
And now this dude he has not lost a game he started.
Not in the regular season.
Even in the playoffs.
Even in the playoffs, that's right.
Because he didn't finish the game in the playoffs. Technically, He started it, but he got knocked out of the game.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. And that, again, we talk about this when we do our draft shows every year. For those of you who've never seen it, drafting is hard anyway, because you can only see what you're looking at on tape in the draft in a college environment, which in a professional environment, everybody's great. I watched a Ed Millick podcast with Troy Aikman today, and Troy actually mentioned it on there as well. You know, he said you get to the NFL and everybody's good, like just everybody's good.
Well, but my point is, I think the 49ers are better than any other organization at taking whatever a quarterback is.
Yes, and making him fit
and making it work.
To me, that's Mike Shanahan. Or Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. It's Kyle Shanahan.
I guess by proxy it's Mike Shanahan.
But that's where he learned a lot of his stuff from, right? I mean, but Kyle Shanahan is a genius when it comes to offense and knowing how to get matchups, create matchups. That's what he does. It's just what he does. And it shows. And the 49ers, to me, are the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, top to bottom, front to back.
You look at them.
Well,
there's no deficiency.
They proved it for sure last night.
Yeah.
That they are the best team in the league right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see – there's nobody close.
The Cowboys are a good team.
Yeah, but that's it.
But they showed last night they are not a great team. And the 49ers are the best.
They are. I don't think it's close. To me –
I know Chiefs fans are not going to say that, but the Chiefs are winning games ugly by and large.
You put this 49ers team against any of those teams right now, in a championship environment, I think 49ers win hands down.
I agree.
The only thing that's going to stop the 49ers are injuries. That is
100%.
Nothing else. 49ers, if the 49ers are injury-free going into the playoffs and through the playoffs, That's your Super Bowl favorite by far, and I don't think it's
Agreed.
close. I don't think it's close. Jaguars beat the Bills 25-20 in Buffalo.
Oh, in London.
Oh, that's right. In London. That's right, because they stayed in London.
Yeah, so this was Jaguars' second game in 2 weeks in London, their second win in London as
Maybe they
well.
should just stay there.
So through 5 games, the Jaguars have played 2 of their 5 games in London. They find themselves at 3-2.
Yep.
They beat a bad Falcons team last week. This week they go in and knock off arguably one of the AFC favorite contenders in the Bills. It's not that Josh Allen had a bad game, but it's just the Jaguars made plays. Travis Etienne, 26 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He tweeted out after the game, I had to play against myself in fantasy football this week with a crying emoji. Calvin Ridley, he kind of showed up late in this game, but once he showed up, he started going off. 7 catches, 122 yards. Huge.
Good to see that for Ridley, too.
Huge win for the Jaguars, especially now that the Texans are starting to find their grounding, as well as the Indianapolis Colts. Every team in the AFC South right now is either 3-2 or 2-3.
Speaking of the Falcons, remembered who Kyle Pitts was as a football player.
Yeah, well, they don't ever remember him in the red zone.
No, they don't. But they won. They beat the Texans 21-19. Watched a little bit of that game.
Yeah. My boy Younghoe Koo hits the walk-off field goal.
Yep, I love that name. By the way.
Kyle Pitts, though, 7 catches, 87 yards. Desmond Ridder, 329 yards and a touchdown. I just don't understand how Arthur Smith and his coaching staff have not figured out that they have the weapon at tight end.
Yes.
Like, you see what they're doing with Travis Kelce in Kansas City? There's no reason you can't, at minimum, be doing that with Kyle Pitts.
Well, exactly. I mean, he's a tight end that plays like a wide receiver.
He runs like a wide receiver. He's that fast.
He's that athletic.
He doesn't have tight end speed. He has wide receiver speed.
And he plays the tight end position.
He can jump out the gym.
This is a mismatch for anybody he's going against.
Yeah. They put a linebacker on him, he's running past him. They put a safety on him, he's running past him. They put a DB on him, he's just going to power through him.
That's it. And you don't have enough. And if you end up having, somebody's going to be open all the time.
Well, I think the play calling, the play calling for Atlanta is not dynamic enough.
No.
To scheme.
It's very basic.
To scheme open. Well, it's not designed for tight ends. It's designed for it's largely an RPO system that's designed for creative ways to get the ball to the running back.
Yep.
Whether it's Bijan, Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algiers, whoever. And if that's not there, look for Drake London.
And here's the funny thing. Put Kyle Shanahan as offensive coordinator of this very same team, it's a totally different offense with far more success.
I mean, when Kyle Shanahan was the OC for them under Dan Quinn and they got to the Super Bowl?
That's what we're saying. You have the Lions beat the brakes off the Panthers 42-24.
Yeah.
The Lions keep a rolling.
Jared Goff had 3 touchdown passes by halftime.
Yep.
David Montgomery keeps adding. Like, if David Montgomery doesn't win Most Improved Player, like I think it's ridiculous that. I mean, he's 5 games in.
Yep.
I think he has 6 rushing touchdowns, 19 carries, 109 yards in this game with 1 touchdown. Adam Thielen for the Panthers, 11 receptions, 107 yards, touchdown, showing that the old man still got it.
That's right.
But the big thing that we're not talking about in this game is Lions rookie tight end Sam Laporta.
I love that dude, by the way.
He's an Iowa prospect, like George Kittle, like Noah Fant, like who's the other Iowa tight end that's in the league right now? It's escaping me. But the point is, Sam Laporta, through 5 games, has as many career receiving touchdowns as Kyle Pitts, who's on his 3rd season in the NFL.
That's sad. That's sad. Colts beat up on the Titans 23-16.
Yeah, but in the process, they do lose quarterback Anthony Richardson to an AC joint sprain.
Yeah.
No telling how long Anthony Richardson will be out, which is a huge blow to the Colts, especially because they needed that win Sunday against the Titans to pull even with the Jaguars.
Yep.
Now it looks like it's the Jaguars' division to win if they can keep it together.
Yeah, you have the Dolphins beating the Giants 31-16.
Yeah, the Dolphins were trying to get back on track after getting it handed to them last week by the Bills. I mean, the speed on that Dolphins team is otherworldly.
It's stupid.
And then they just traded for Chase Claypool.
There you go.
And so that just adds more speed to their offense. It's going to be scary. The Dolphins are going to be that team that outside of injury, they will just get better as the season goes on because the speed's going to speed. You know, people are going to start slowing down with injuries.
Yep.
Even if you start slowing down with an injury and you're a speedster, like you'll still be better than the guy you're going against who's slowing down with an injury.
Exactly.
So I think this kind of, man, as of right now, as of this moment, post week 5 in the NFL, I'm calling 49ers Dolphins Super Bowl.
I could see it. Saints beat the Patriots 34-0.
All right, so there might be a third option for the Drizzler.
There might be.
Because look at the Patriots in the last 2 weeks. So 34-0 to the Saints in Foxborough this week.
Yes.
Last week they were in Dallas, lose to the Cowboys 38-3. The Patriots have been outscored by 69 points in the last 2 weeks. Only have put up a field goal. And look, Mac Jones got benched again. He got benched this week. He got benched last week.
Oh, my God. You see the one interception he threw?
So let's go back to when he got drafted. And Josh McDaniels was his offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. Like, he was looking really good as a rookie. Do you think if you took up Mac Jones and you put him in that 49ers offense, do you think he's doing what Brock Purdy's doing?
I don't know. I mean, possibly.
I think he does.
But the problem with Mac Jones, and I don't know why this happened or how it's happened, but he has got them jumpy feet. Like he knows somebody's coming to get him at all times, even if they're not.
Well, they must be getting to him in practice then.
Something is going on there because he doesn't set his feet to throw. He's always looking for a way to bail. And when he's close, he starts. I mean, and this happened. They even caught it on the broadcast a few times. It's like, what are you doing? There's nothing happening around you? Right. What are you doing? I mean, it just makes zero sense. Something's happened to him.
It's that clock going off in his head.
Yeah, but I don't know. So I think what makes Brock Purdy good is he has poise in the pocket. He's not afraid to stand and deliver. Well, he scans the field.
Brock Purdy also has, Trent Williams protecting his blind side.
But he does, and that's fine. But he still stands there and delivers, right?
The Patriots' offensive line has not been good.
They're not. And I'd probably be scared for my life behind that offensive line as well. I'm not gonna lie, probably so. But whatever it is, he's got them happy feet going on right now, and it's not good. The Ravens lose to the Steelers 17-10.
Had that game in hand. Had it in hand. And then gave up 14 points in the third quarter, or the fourth quarter, the last one being the bomb to George Pickens. They really iced that game away. 2 bad beats for the Ravens in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it has been rough for them. Steelers get a huge win. Steelers currently top dog in the AFC North.
The Eagles beat the Rams 23-14 in a game that was way closer than what this score would have you believe.
Yeah. Welcome back, Cooper Kupp.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Also to your teammate Puka Nacua.
I love Puka Nacua, by the way. He made an outstanding touchdown catch. That was just unbelievable.
Tremendous. Dude, it's just the Eagles were too good, and the superior talent overwhelmed the Rams late in this game.
Yeah, it was,
and that was the difference.
That is really what it came.
It's not like the Eagles dominated the Rams at any point of this game.
Not at all.
Jason Kelsey's on the sideline losing his mind on his coaches. I mean, you look at these gaudy stat lines for Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and hey, they're well deserved. But the Rams are fighting teams a lot more than I think anyone expected.
Oh yeah, and I think now that you see Cooper Kupp working his way back into the lineup, you can see, I think the biggest shift in probably a team this season could come from the Rams.
Yeah, especially you get Cooper Kupp going. If the defense can play marginal, if they can be like the 15th or 16th best defense in the league, that'll put them in position to make a playoff push.
I think, and it's certainly possible with the way the rest of the NFC is shaping up right now.
So, look, since we're through 5 weeks here, we've seen what Puka Nacua has been doing. Like, he is currently on pace to break Cooper Kupp's receiving record.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp broke Calvin Johnson's receiving record.
Yes.
The quarterback for all three of those dudes was Matt Stafford.
That's right.
Is Matt Stafford the best quarterback of all time?
No, I don't think so.
I think he is.
Do I think he's one of the greats who, until he won a Super Bowl, was really undervalued? Yeah, I do.
Because Matt Stafford, to a level unlike any other quarterback, has helped develop his wide receivers.
Well,
Now,
he does that.
Now, granted, Calvin Johnson, otherworldly talent. Not trying to take that away. Like,
exactly.
Calvin Johnson would have been great regardless of who his quarterback was.
Oh, yeah.
However, he just happened to become a record-setting great wide receiver with Matt Stafford. Cooper Kupp, he was a 3rd-round draft pick. Puka Nacua, a 5th-round draft pick. Both of them have exploded having Matt Stafford. To take my stance for Matt Stafford a step further is Marvin Jones Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting there in Detroit. Matt Stafford makes him a superstar hot commodity of wide receiver.
Yes, he did.
Marvin Jones Jr. leaves Detroit to go down to Jacksonville to get paid. Disappears.
That's it.
Disappears. Kenny Golladay. Matthew Stafford made everyone think Kenny Golladay was a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. He leaves to go to New York to get paid by the Giants. I think he might have caught 1 touchdown pass his entire run with the Giants over 2 years.
Well, look.
And it was Matt Stafford that got him paid.
There's no question that the quarterback position can make or break a wide receiver's career.
All I'm saying, Peyton Manning didn't elevate wide receivers like that. He had 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers that played.
They stayed their whole career with him, though.
Yeah.
They didn't go anywhere else.
Like Marvin Harrison was a Hall of Fame wide receiver with or without Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne was a Hall of Fame wide receiver with or without Peyton Manning. But when he got to Denver, like, he didn't really elevate his wide receivers from their statistical standpoint. His statistics elevated.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think
Peyton Manning went to Denver and threw 55 touchdown passes. I'm not taking that away from him.
Well, before his arm deadened out.
But it's not like Demaryius Thomas was going
Demaryius is still
for 2,000
Demaryius.
yards.
No.
It's not like Brandon Stokely was out there going off for 1,500 yards.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think Calvin Johnson is otherworldly. He'd have been great no matter who. Tim Tebow could have been throwing to Calvin Johnson. And Calvin Johnson would have made his career instead of that being the other way around.
So my point is Matt Stafford just elevates dudes.
And I think he does.
To a level that I have not seen from any other quarterback in my life.
Well, I think Tom Brady did that.
Did he?
Yeah. Well, he made guys who wouldn't be anything. Now, here's the thing.
The best season Tom Brady ever had, I mean, you can talk about his first season in Tampa Bay. He had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And Gronk.
Yeah.
His best season in New England, he had Randy Moss.
Oh, no doubt. But what I'm saying is, though, all those Super Bowls and stuff, he threw to guys and made those guys.
Yeah, but all those Super Bowls, you can also, especially the first 3, are attributed to that defense.
Well, there's no question.
That was not.
But his quarterbacking skills did elevate his teammates. They elevated his team.
He put the team in positions to win.
Always.
I don't think he made a wide receiver, though.
I don't think he made one great.
Maybe,
I don't think he made Calvin Johnson.
You could argue maybe Deion Branch. He got Deion Branch paid by the Seahawks.
He did get Deion Branch paid.
And then the Seahawks were like, "Oh, he sucks," and sent him back to New England where he won another Super Bowl.
Exactly. And again, playing with guys who know how to play with him. They know his likes and dislikes. But like with the Edelmans and stuff of the world, guys like that. I mean.
But Julian Edelman was a dog.
Well, Cooper Kupp's a dog.
Because I remember watching Julian Edelman in preseason.
Yeah.
His rookie year. Returning kicks and running with the third string. I was like, oh, okay. That dude's got it. they thought that they had the same thing with the Gunnar Olszewski kid or Ostrowski kid or whatever who plays for the Steelers now.
Yep.
They found out that wasn't the fact. You can't say that Brady made Wes Welker because Wes Welker made a name for himself in Miami when nobody at quarterback.
But I think, what Tom Brady did was elevate those guys' names. And here's what Tom Brady, and here's what I think it's a marriage. I don't even think it's one person, honestly, just like here. I think you get two athletes who are driven to become something, and this is what the magic they make. Like with Tom Brady,
But
what we learned with that whole deal with Edelman and Welker up there is like, oh, you know what we can do? We can put a super fast dog out here in the slot, and we can eat people's lunch up all day long.
But also, who was Edelman and Wes Welker's teammate on those Patriot teams? Randy Moss.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And then after Randy Moss leaves, they got, say what you want about him, and understandably so.
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez is great.
He was a great tight end. And Gronk. And they
Gronk.
got those dudes in the same year, in the same draft.
Which was ridiculous, by the way.
So
that's a hard thing to call. Like Cooper Kupp is great, but Cooper Kupp works his ass off. He's 24/7 working. You see the special on him? Oh my God, it's great. You get a chance to do it.
That dates back to his time at Eastern Washington.
Oh my God, yeah, so good.
Yeah, I think Cooper Kupp is a dog, but I'm saying don't get so fixated on Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson here, but look at the other dudes. Puka Nacua is a 5th round pick.
Oh yeah, but he's got talent.
But because he's only played 5 NFL games, do we know if it's really Puka Nacua?
Or we know if it's...
Or is it Matt Stafford
making
sure
Nacua
that
has to get open and he has to catch a football.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford has to get it to him, and Matt Stafford can do it.
And Matt Stafford also works with these guys, too.
And I think, that's my point.
When we're in these kind of situations, this is where you need to be, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I think that's where we get down to it is like,
I think
is your quarterback good enough to bring out the greatness in guys who have the potential?
Yeah.
And I believe you see that from Puka Nacua right now.
Right.
Where people were passed on. How often do we see that? Why are these guys passed on? Because somebody didn't see their potential.
Every team passed on him.
Somebody said, you know what?
Not only did every team pass on him, every team passed on him multiple times.
That's right. It's like his potential, and this dude's still sitting there. We got to take it. We can't let him go anymore. I don't think.
Well, was it even that, or was it just like, hey, what about that the kid from BYU?
It could be
the Nacua guy, the wide receiver.
But I don't believe for a minute that those guys.
Like we're real thin at that spot now.
Yeah,
because we no longer have Robert Woods.
That question
we no longer have Brandon Cooks. We've got Cooper Kupp. He's been kind of bothered with the hammy here lately, so like we just really need to fill out that wide receiver room.
And I believe that conversation was had. They knew they were going to get a wide receiver. And I think when they saw him still there and probably looked at his tape because they did, they wouldn't even pick him.
But it's BYU tape, so I mean,
sure,
you got to start thinking about quality of opposition there.
Well, they do that all the time. How many people?
Now I say that, but I mean, Cooper Kupp played at Eastern Washington.
Exactly. So I think
Calvin Johnson played at Georgia Tech.
I think they really look at their athletic skills and go, look how he breaks. Look at his vision. Look at his handwork. All the technical things that most people don't even really look at when it comes to evaluating these guys. They look at all that. They got scout teams that look at all that. But what I think they succeed at is because you got such a great quarterback in Matt Stafford. And when they go out there, these guys are lucky enough and fortunate enough to say, look, this is why I can show you how great I am. You just get me a quarterback who can get me the football. And Matt Stafford saying, I'm going to give you the opportunity to show us if you're great or not. Because the ball's coming.
Yeah.
What can you do with it? And they show you.
I think the only other quarterback as good at elevating his wide receivers as Matt Stafford is Drew Brees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Drew Brees didn't have any, like, record setters at wide receiver. However, almost every wide receiver that Drew Brees had, with the exception of Michael Thomas, was a late round guy.
That's right.
And Drew Brees made every one of those dudes dogs, or he got them paid.
No, he did. Speaking of that, Alvin Kamara looked good this weekend.
Oh, you know,
for him there. I love seeing him play this weekend.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara's stud.
Yeah, that made me happy.
But just going to that Rams-Eagles game, like that, just thinking about what Puka did and what Cooper Kupp did in that same game.
Yeah.
Just saying, Matt Stafford does not get the love he deserves.
Oh, I agree 100%.
From anyone.
And Matt Stafford will be in the Hall of Fame.
He should.
He will be, but only because he won that Super Bowl.
I think
But-
you're right. Yeah.
But without that Super Bowl, is he? I think he is.
It's hard to argue.
My thing is that I just don't think a lot of the sports writers who vote for these people, they don't look at that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like, look at his body of work and what he's done.
Well, and he started his career in Detroit,
Well,
which doesn't help.
If you don't have Matt Stafford, Detroit never sees double-digit wins at all.
No. Well, then they barely did while he was there because they were that bad.
Yeah.
As a team.
And even look when Calvin Johnson left. You still had him back there slinging that rock and making stars out of people.
Yeah, that's when Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones Jr. got their shine.
That's what I mean. So this guy,
and they got huge contracts.
To me, he's a Hall of Famer. But I don't think without that Super Bowl, they do that to him. I think it's one of those long-term Hall of Fame deals they talked about because you didn't win a Super Bowl. But but they never did that with Dan Marino.
Well, Dan Marino's.
So people talk about
a world beater.
They asked, but he wasn't. I mean, that's the thing. Look, you go back and look, and the first few years of his career, he was, and Miami just stunk forever after that.
Yeah, I mean, the team stunk.
And they would pull off, sometimes they'd pull off wins here and there. But
because Marino doesn't get as much run, and because he was in the league for, 17 years?
He was.
Like, you don't get 17 years in the league at the quarterback position as a starting quarterback.
Unless you're good.
Unless you got it.
But here's the thing with that. And I get asked this of Troy, too, because they were talking about the Mount Rushmore, and they asked Troy, it hurts your feelings that you're not put on everybody's, top 5 quarterbacks. So Troy's like, I don't even think about that. He said, it really doesn't bother me. He said, because, there's some great quarterbacks out there. Some great quarterbacks who played this game and done it. He said, I've won 3 Super Bowls. Sure. Did I play at a high level? Sure. He said, no. But if somebody today watching all these new quarterbacks, they probably never even saw me play. Yeah. He said, ask them about Otto Graham. The guy won 10 championships. They don't even know who that is.
No.
So
or Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah. So there's a lot of these great quarterbacks that are sitting out there that should be on a true Mount Rushmore.
But now it's a passing league.
Yeah. So your numbers he said, as you mentioned that stats, he said, they just go out and look at stats and go, well, that sucked. I mean, compared to the league today, yeah, of course they suck.
Troy Aikman played with the NFL's all-time rushing leader.
He said that too. He said,
that kind of cuts into those
I played with him at Smith. All right. He said, but when we decided to pass, we were one of the most effective passing teams in the league.
But they were also a loaded team at all levels.
He said, but we played complete football. We played complete
football. You had Michael Irvin at receiver, Jay Novacek at tight end, Daryl Johnson paving the way for him at fullback, which you could also throw to him.
Yep.
You had the Great Wall of Dallas there.
So he had complete teams there. And I just thought it's just interesting conversations, but it goes back to the whole different.
It was a whole different world of football at that time.
It was, and the league keeps changing, so it's hard to compare.
But you think just in the last 20 years, since the league has shifted to this passing league, and because that's kind of about when the rules started, or about 20 years ago, to help protect quarterbacks,
yes,
or kind of shift things
because they were losing too many top quarterbacks to injury,
and so. All I'm saying is appreciate Matt Stafford while you got him, folks.
Yeah, because how long has he been in the league now?
15 years?
Is it 15?
Something like that, like 2008, 2009, I feel like.
Yeah. I guess so.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's somewhere around there.
I can't remember. We'll have to look that up.
I'll Google it.
All right, Bengals found the win column again, beating the Cardinals 34-20.
If that Bengals team can show up to play every week, they'll be dangerous.
Yeah, they would. Thank you, Jamar Chase, by the way. Needed that as well.
Got 15 catches, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase is only 1 game away from Jerry Rice for being tied for the most games with 15 receptions, 150 plus yards, and 3 touchdowns.
And again, that's pretty much thanks to the way the league is these days. And Jamar Chase's outworldly skills. I mean, let's not pretend it's not.
So Matt Stafford came in the league in 2009.
All right, so he's on year 14, well, 15.
Yeah, this is season 15 for him.
15 for him. Jets beat the Broncos 31-21.
And Matt Stafford's also top 20 all-time in pass attempts, completions, yards, and touchdowns.
And the Chiefs Vikings 27-20.
So, hey, the Jets-Broncos game was disgusting. Yeah. Like, outside of Breece Hall, welcome back to football, baby. That's 22 carries, 177 yards, touchdown. He went off. That was a gross game to watch.
It really was.
And the Vikings game was way more entertaining than it should have been because the Vikings honestly kind of got screwed. They got screwed towards the end of that game.
A little bit.
So, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Chiefs don't look so dominant. The Eagles don't look so dominant.
No.
The 49ers are dominant.
They are the dominant team in the league. They're scary. That's just
terrifying.
a scary good team. Who'd imagine John Lynch would have put together a team like this and led a team? He was back there busting heads for Tampa Bay in the backfield. That's crazy to me. It's wild. All right, let's pick these games out. Starting Thursday night, you got Broncos, Chiefs, Lions, KC by 10.5.
Chiefs by infinity. It doesn't matter. Broncos suck.
Ravens, Titans, Lions, Baltimore by 3.
Titans are pretty bad. Let's see if the Ravens can get it turned around. But, yeah, I'm going with the Ravens there.
Commanders, Falcons, Lions, Atlanta by 2.5 at home.
Ooh. I'm going to take the Falcons as well.
We got Vikings, Bears, both teams 1-4, Minnesota by 3 on the road.
Yeah, I believe more in the Vikings right now than I do the Bears. But, well, I don't know. Justin Jefferson's dealing with a hamstring issue.
Yeah.
The Vikings said they're in no rush to get him on the field. Yeah, man, if Justin Fields and DJ Moore can keep up what they've been doing, I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears at home.
All right. Seahawks, Bengals, Lions, Cincinnati by 2.5 at home.
Yeah, talent-wise, the Bengals should win that game.
49ers, Browns, Lions, San Francisco by 5 on the road.
San Fran all day.
Panthers, Dolphins, Lions, Miami by 13.5 at home.
The Dolphins improved to 5-1. The Panthers will drop to 0-6, and the Bears are happy as can be because that looks like that number 1 pick and number 2 pick are pretty much well locked up for them.
Colts, Jaguars, Lions, Jacksonville by 4 at home.
The Colts probably will not have Anthony Richardson for this game, so give me Trevor Lawrence and company.
Saints, Texans, Lions, New Orleans by 1.5 on the road.
Definitely taking the Saints over the Texans just from a talent standpoint, although I don't think it's that dramatic of a difference because of the way that C.J. Stroud's played.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about Matt Stafford elevating his guys. Like, C.J. Stroud is elevating his dudes right now.
Oh, yeah. They need a playmaker, and he's that guy. Patriots, Raiders, Lions, Las Vegas by 3 at home.
Yeah, I'll take the Raiders in that one. Mac Jones benched in back-to-back weeks. Like, it's gonna be in no time, Bailey Zappi will be the guy in New England.
Cardinals, Rams, Lions, the Rams by 6 at home.
Give me the Rams in that one.
Eagles, Jets, Lions, Philly by 6.5.
Philly.
Lions, Bucks, Lions, Detroit by 3 on the road.
Yeah, give me the Lions, man. They are playing this is the best I have seen the Lions in my lifetime. Just as a collective team.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like, you think about the last time the Lions made the playoffs, it was because they had a pretty good defensive front, but they didn't have anything at linebacker and secondary. Well, I say they didn't have anything in secondary. They had Darius Slay, but he couldn't do it by himself. But yeah, I'm going to take the Lions there over the Bucks.
Giants, Bills, Lions, Bills by 14.
Yeah, Bills will get it turned around up there in Orchard Park.
And then on Monday Night Football, will be the Cowboys and the Chargers, Lions, Dallas by 2 on the road.
Dallas should win that game, but they'll probably find a way to lose it.
Agreed. And
we got the Packers and the Steelers on bye weeks.
There you go. All right, it is that time we've all been waiting for. It is time to give out some awards.
Ooh.
I say it every time I don't do it. All right, dude, this is the one.
Yeah.
I figure the best way to do this is you pick one, I'll pick the other because we're on the same wavelength here with this drizzler.
Man, I don't know. Like, I've kind of come around on some things. I've eliminated one of them.
Okay.
Just by how truly awful some other stuff was this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the New England Patriots.
Wow. Okay.
Organizationally, top to bottom, front to back, the last 2 weeks, they've been outscored by 69 points while only putting up 3 points themselves. Pretty horrific. Both weeks, your starting quarterback has been benched for terrible play. Offensive line looks bad. Running backs look bad. They were talking about this double-headed monster of Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott. That hasn't shown up. Wide receivers aren't doing anything. Juju Smith-Schuster's down with an injury. The defense looks good. Looks bad. Their promising rookie corner, Christian Gonzalez, went down against the Cowboys. He's done for the year. Things probably aren't going to get better anytime soon for the Patriots. Honestly, if we want to get down to it, this may very well be Bill Belichick's final season coaching the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
So the Patriots, you are this week's Drizzler.
And mine is I'll go ahead and give a tie because I'm not letting either one of them off the hook. Miami, horrible decision. It's this dumb. It's the worst. It's one of the worst coaching decisions you can make. Having victory in your hands, literally having it right there. You have to do nothing but kneel on the ball. That's it. And you couldn't accomplish that. That automatically signs you up for one of the biggest drizzlers ever. Unless you're the Dallas Cowboys and you've put together this team. Your defense is supposed to be this great thing. Your offense, now you got a cute name for it, the Texas Coast offense. No, you're the out pasture offense, right? You're just a big dump in a pasture somewhere, big flat cow patty. Can't do anything. It was horrible quarterback play. It was horrible offensive play in general, horrible offensive line play with your five big guys who are finally back together. You were toting that. Oh, here we go. And they crapped the bed. Defense got their feelings hurt. They crapped the bed. Coaching, what? What is coaching? They don't know because they certainly didn't act like it. It was horrible all the way around. So all of y'all got the drizzler, and it's well earned. Congratulations. But now we move on to the good stuff. Move on to the good stuff. We beat that dead horse a minute. Oh, I did write it down too, I think. I was like, why is that written down there? I didn't even know why that was written down there. I think I wrote, this is tasty on one of my things over there. I was like, what was it? It was on one of the things. I wrote it down somewhere. I've been on that other one. But yeah, it's time to give out the Big Kahuna Awards. Which player, organization, team, whatever, coaching job, who made the best display this week? Who did the best job?
Oh, man, it is hard. Like, there's some guys that really, really deserve it. And I'm trying to figure out who I should give it to.
It's a toughie. It's a toughie.
I think I'm going to go with Jamar Chase.
Oh, he lit it up.
15 catches, 192 yards, 3 touchdown passes, or three touchdown receptions. Is awfully massive as the Bengals find their way back into the win column there. But also shout out to DJ Uiagalelei, 275 yards, 5 touchdowns in Oregon State's win over Cal.
Yeah, that was so big and so huge. Because who thought that was coming? Not many people. Even though Louisville was undefeated coming in, we talked about it last week, and they just took it to Notre Dame. And so, what a great way to make a statement win. And that is a statement win for Louisville.
Absolutely.
However, in spite of all these great moments, because he doesn't get enough love, but my big kahuna goes to Kyle Shanahan. Scheming up a team, and honestly, this is a culmination of this award for him for what he's done with that offense, with a quarterback nobody even knew the name of, as we talked about earlier, coming out and just scheming up his guys. Cowboys saw the answer from McCaffrey, slowing him down. Deebo Samuel trying to slow him down. And all they did was give up 3 touchdowns to George Kittle, got other guys involved. I mean, because that's what Kyle Shanahan does. He's a genius on the offensive side of that football. And they smoked the Cowboys. I mean, just gave them all the juice. And it was brilliant. Yeah. It was brilliant. Kyle Shanahan's my guy this week. All right, folks. We appreciate y'all tuning in to this edition of the Undefined Blitz. We will be back next Monday. Talk about more craziness and what might happen next weekend. Doesn't look as exciting. I mean, we got a couple games to watch. Talk about Oregon, Washington. That'll be a lot of fun. There'll certainly be some interesting NFL matchups to look at. We just ran those down. Who do you got? Who's your team? Let us know. Let us know what you think about it. Till next time, for JC, it's Big Daddy. We'll talk to you soon.